I'm currently going through the process of getting rid of a lot of gear. Being a musician and being someone on YouTube, I've accumulated far too many pedals, and frankly, when the hell am I ever going to play 200 pedals? So what I want to do right now is downsize, put what I don't play for sale, let someone else enjoy it, and just keep whatever, is more my style. That doesn't mean that it has to be the true, authentic, original circuit. Maybe that original circuit doesn't suit it for me, and maybe someone modified it, and it sounds better to my ears. So that's what I'm going to go through today with the Rat circuit. I've done this with the Klon, with the Tube Screamer. I've done it with fuzz. I've done it with a bunch of pedals, and I'm going to keep on doing it until I find like the examples that for me sound the best with different amps, different guitars, and just sounds more musical to me. And that's really important for me. I don't care about authenticity. I don't care about like the legendary tone of whatever pedal. I think that is not my style. I'm not into that. I would rather play something I enjoy. So today I'm doing the whole Rat thing. And my journey started with this guy. It's freaking heavy. It's affordable. It's readily available pretty much everywhere. You can sometimes find them used because some people buy them and don't really enjoy them. It's a very particular type of tone. You can use it as a boost, as does Nuno from Extreme. He uses this in the front of a Marshall type of amplifier to boost the front end. It does roll out a lot of low end and bring up some of the high mids, so it's cool for that. But if you want to go for that, first album Foo Fighters type of tone, you can get some really grungy, alternative 1990s tones out of it. And there's a lot of notable users of this circuit, but frankly speaking, I'm not a fan. At lower settings, it feels kind of thin, and the treble on this thing is it rips your head off. So I'm always like really cranking, because this thing here kind of works backwards. You start off unfiltered, and as you go here and you turn clockwise, you're reducing a lot of the high end. And yeah, it's just not my thing. I get what it's supposed to do, and I've heard some great examples of it, but to me, this is not my favorite. I also have the Dark Mouse from Donner. This was actually the second pedal that I tried, and oddly enough, I prefer this to the Rat. It has like the hyper mode and the classic mode. So the classic mode would be like that, and I think the hyper might be like the turbo Rat kind of circuit, which I end up using most of the time. So this one here is cool. Really cheap in terms of price, but good quality in terms of sound. I also have the Cranium by Zander Circuitry. So this is a boutique example. A lot of love put into the pedal, a lot of attention put into the pedal. It's basically all the Rats in one. And if you're going, hey, this guy's just copying JHS. No, this guy came out with it before JHS. There's like more of a boost function here, but I have a bit of a hard time with this one because there's some sounds that I really like, but I find it very tricky to dial in exactly what I'm going for. It's a great example, very versatile, but I don't know if it's what I bond with, so I'm going to have to see about that. I have a 2004 Mudhoney from T-Rex. So this is their version of a modified Rat. And up till now, I really like it. The issue that I have with it is that I don't know if this is common throughout all the other later iterations, but this being one of like the earlier ones with the little dino logo at the bottom, I find that if you instantiate the boost function here, the gain goes from, yeah, it's pretty gainy, and then all of a sudden it just goes insane, and it's almost like fuzz territory. So the sweep on the knob isn't all that great, if I'm to be honest, but it's still a cool tone. If you don't go with the boost, then you have more of a tame version of the Rat. So everything under like 11 o'clock on a ProCo Rat 2 is pretty much what this sweep is. So you never go like crazy fuzz. You have to instantiate this. So it does what the Rat is doing, but it seems to have truncated it into two portions where you have more of a traditional low gain thing, or you can just go completely nuts. It doesn't do the pumping thing that the Rat does. If you know what I mean, is where you crank the gain all the way and it feels like a fuzz. It feels like you get this bounce back from every time you pick. You have like this weird compression thing. This doesn't do that, and I don't really care for that in the pedal, but it's just a kind of like a trademark thing that the original fuzz does. So yeah, this one here, I like it so far, but I'm not sure I love it yet. So I'm going to have to see. The next one is the Ratatouille. So this is number 14 at the back over here. And this is from Shnobel Tone. This is not actually a Rat circuit, which is very fascinating to me. This is actually more like his daily driver. So if you look at Shnobel Tone, you look at the daily driver, that is an original circuit that he came up with. And then he's done some crazy modification to that very circuit and created the Ratatouille, or as we say in French, Ratatouille. And this pedal, what it does is that it gives you that rat tone without being a rat. It's not as noisy, far more usable, and I find myself using the filter far less on this guy than I do with the actual Rat. So I'm really enjoying this. The only flaw I can find it is that when you get to the top portion here, it gets kind of noisy in like the last quarter of the turn. So, but I usually don't use this type of circuit with such high settings. So I'm going to have to see about that. And the last one I have for you is this one here, which is the Reezafratzitz. This one here now kind of threw me off because when I originally sent a request to the company saying, hey, I'd like to check this out. Could you send out this pedal my way? I approached it saying that it was a Rat. And what kind of gave me that impression is the fret right here that kind of has the word Rat subtly thrown in here. Now, I've had some people say, this is not a Rat, you idiot. Like, it's a different circuit. And then I've read elsewhere that no, it is a modified Rat. It's just, it sounds very different because they've done a lot of tweaking to it. I don't know what to believe at this point, so I'm going to include it in the shootout regardless. To me, it has more of a Marshall-esque type of tone going on, which I really like. And I typically like keep the gain level at around 9 o'clock to about noon. I don't really push it any further. And this bias knob I usually keep all the way clockwise just because it's less scooped, it has more mids. So I'm still including it. If you're like, you're a fucking idiot, it's not a Rat, I don't care. I'm still including it because to me it sounds like it's in that style, even though people are completely contradicting themselves online saying it is, it isn't, I don't care, it's in there. Right now I do have a penchant for this one and for the Ratatouille, but we're going to see. Which one do I think is best? And yeah, I'll come back with my impression. The lowdown here today is that I'm debating between 3 pedals on which one to keep. So the ones that are going to go on the chopping block and are pretty much decided I'm going to sell are the ProCo Rat 2, the Dark Mouse, and the Cranium. So those are, they are good pedals. I'm not going to lie to you. They're good pedals. They're not quite fulfilling for me. They're not doing the thing I would like them to do. I don't care about original. I don't care about like the authenticity of the circuit. To me, that doesn't matter. What matters to me is how do I react when I play it? Does the pedal inspire me? Do I get tones that get me to play for like 10 minutes on end where I'm like completely immersed into what I'm hearing? Or do I just want authentic and not be inspired and be able to brag that, hey, I have the original tone? It's not my style. It's not something I'm into. So I would rather keep the stuff that inspires me to play, whether that's the cheap stuff or the expensive stuff or the readily available, you know, consumer level piece of gear. I don't care. It's really about how I feel when I play. Does it inspire me to play? So that's what I want to do today. So I know that the Dark Mouse, the ProCo Rat 2, and the Cranium are good. They're just not inspiring me the way I want them to be. Like the Cranium, I mean, on paper, should be the ultimate. This one here does all the rat sounds, and it's got a lot of flexibility, but I haven't found a sound that inspires me in it. It's not because it's not a good pedal. It's very authentic to what the Rat does. So if I compare it with the ProCo Rat 2, it's doing that. And, you know, design-wise, he nailed it. However, for me, I'm liking thicker tones. I want something that if I grab single coils, I'm not going to sound stringy, really bright and brash. I want something that's going to be thick. It's going to have the kind of sound that sustains the note a little longer and just feels inspiring. It's hard to describe a tone, but the concept is that right now the Mudhoney is good, but I'm not sure if it's great. So I need to play with it some more. Maybe I'm going to unlock something with a specific guitar amp and, you know, stacking with different pedals. I might find a combination where I'm going, whoa, this is the one. But right now, the Mudhoney, the Ratatouille, and the Reezafratzitz are the 3 that I'm debating about. So this is one of those episodes where I did not make a clear choice. I'm still going to have to experiment. And maybe I'm going to have to keep all 3 because maybe all 3 are different enough that they warrant keeping all 3 of them. But I know that I can't keep every single Rat iteration that I have in the collection right now. It makes no sense. So that was it for today. Let me know what you think of this. Was there one of the ones that I'm getting rid of that you think would serve you great or serve you well? So yeah, let me know in the comments. I'm going to comment back and let you know what I think. And yeah, in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, just click over here and I'm going to see you in the next one. Cheers.